Coach Vince here, excited to bring you this training. It's helping your kiddos better understand the importance of breakfast. So, I had the opportunity to speak to some high school kids, and the teacher brought me in specifically because he coaches a lot of young athletes, and he knows that his athletes either skip breakfast or tend to eat a lot of garbage for breakfast. So, he wanted me to come in and help them better understand the importance of breakfast. So the training that I taught them is the training I want to go through with you today as well. And you can use this with your kiddos. So I first off asked them the question is, what are you currently eating for breakfast? So I just wanted to get a sense of better understanding what they were eating. And it was pretty cool by the end. We actually built a plate for breakfast, and it was pretty cool to hear their answers and actually how different it was. But once I got their minds thinking a little bit different about what they could and should be eating for breakfast, all the kids, made it seem like it was no problem making that transition. So it was pretty cool to see. So I started off with some questions on better understanding what do they want? What do they enjoy doing? And I think it's so important when we're helping our kids do things that we want them to do, because we know in the bigger picture it's better for them. It's better understanding what do they want, and then bridging the gap between what do they want and what do you need them to do. So that's why I started off the training with the kiddos on, hey, any of you guys play sports? And naturally I got the majority of the kids to raise their hands. I then asked them even deeper than, what do you want to improve with the sport or sports that you play? And naturally, if you play a sport, there's some things that you want to get better at. And obviously not all of the kids raised their hands. So I had the academic card in my back pocket and, asked the kids, how many kids plan on, going to college? Where do you want to go? And what do you think from a academic side of things? What do you want to get better at? Math, reading, being able to stay more focused, study skills, time management, all the questions that would help them go to college and excel. So understanding what they want and what they want to improve. So we took some deep dives into those questions. It was super interactive. They had a ton of great answers. And then I dove into, well, when it comes to college, you need to use your brain, or when it comes to academics, you need to be able to use your brain. And then I asked the question on what fuels your brain? What food do you think fuels your brain? And it was pretty eye-opening. Obviously, they didn't have a ton of answers for that. The next question was, in order to improve your athleticism, you obviously need to use your muscles. So what food fuels your muscles? Now, a bunch of kids did get this. Protein's obviously pretty well known, pretty talked about, and protein absolutely helps fuel your muscles. There's more than just protein, but protein was the big hitter. So they got that one. So it's pretty cool just being able to have a conversation back and forth. But I started it better understanding what do they want and what do they want to improve. And to me, it just made the conversation flow a lot smoother. It's a good little tip for when you're chatting with your kiddos. So in terms of breakfast, so I also broke this down for them, is breakfast is also known as breaking your fast. So when you go to bed at night, your body is doing some pretty amazing things. It's building, repairing, regenerating, and removing waste. And when you wake up in the morning and you want to refuel your body in a way that honors all the hard work that it just did, and to ensure you crush the day. So just helping them understand that during this break, and while you're fasting, your body's actually working really hard. And when you do decide to break your fast with food, that it's really important that it's food that helps honor all the work. So imagine you just worked a 8-hour, 10-hour, 12-hour, really hard, laborious day, whether it be sitting at the computer, really using your mind, or it's actually out doing some manual labor. Man, when you get home, you want to be refed. You want to be rewarded for that. Money, food, whatever it is, you want to be rewarded for all that hard work. So I was just trying to relate to the kids that going to sleep each night, that our body's working really hard. So let's reward it with some things that actually help repair and rebuild it. So connecting the brain, what I did is to help improve their focus, concentration, and memory. So that works really well, whether they're trying to improve their academics or their athletics. Of course, who wouldn't want more focus, more concentration, more memory? And in order to do that, we have to fuel the brain because the brain is responsible for that. So then I went through and asked them, here's the top six foods that help improve your focus, or actually the nutrients that help improve your focus, your concentration, your memory, the fuel your brain really wants. And then I just went one by one, omega-3 fatty acids. These are the foods that are the highest in omega-3 fatty acids. And I asked them to circle the ones that they would eat. I then went into protein, did the same thing, asked them to circle the ones that they would eat. So this whole time, making it interactive and playful for them. After we went through the brain, we then moved on to the muscle side of things. So agility, speed, and strength, endurance. If you want to be a better athlete, you have to have better muscles. These are all the great things your muscles can do if they're fueled properly. So here are the nutrients that best fuel your muscles. So I did the same thing. And, I also let them notice, hey, do you notice that minerals, omega-3s, protein, they're on the same list? So what's cool is if you eat these foods, you're killing two birds with one stone. So once again, I had them circle the foods that they would eat to help them better understand how later on, when we go to building a meal, what foods they could add in to build that meal. So then we went into just real quick 3 tips to breaking your fast. So number 1, every single day at minimum, whether you choose to eat food or not, is starting your day off getting a big old glass of water, 10 to 30 ounces, depending on your size, is a great starting point. Then what we talked about, and we'll go into an example here, is called building your refueling plate. And it's so important to use words that would make the kids excited. So, if it's like, hey, we're going to have breakfast this morning, maybe that's exciting to some kids, maybe it's not. But when we're talking to an athlete, or when you're talking to someone who really enjoys schooling and wants to excel in it, saying, hey, let's go build your refueling plate. To me, there's a lot bigger connection there on actually wanting to include foods that will refuel them. And then we just hit real quickly on some blood sugar regulation and still being able to include all of their favorite foods. So I got nothing wrong with cereal, bread, carbs. There's no foods that are necessarily good or bad. They're just some foods that are going to help you differently than other foods. So if they want to have the cereal, if they want to have the breads, if they want to have the pasta, if they want to have the bars, whatever it might be, it's just helping them better understand how to include that into their refueling plate. And it usually typically is having, maybe a bar, a breakfast bar, for example, is they would have their refueling plate. So they would have some protein, healthy carbs, healthy fats, and then maybe half of the bar. Or maybe it is the full bar still on their plate. So I'm not excluding any of their fun foods. It's just making sure that we're getting the necessary things. So from the blood sugar regulation, include your favorite foods. Just make sure you're building your refueling plate. So then we went into an example of actually what a refueling plate would look like. So we listed, hey, pick 1 protein, pick 2 healthy carbs, pick 1 healthy fat. And so had them write in, hey, what's the protein that you would pick? Hey, what are the 2 healthy carbs you would pick? Hey, what's the healthy fat? And had them write in. And a lot of the kids right away, like they knew exactly what they were going to eat. And so then I said, hey, build a second meal, build a third meal, get a bunch of ideas so you don't feel like you're having to eat the same thing over and over again. And I thought this lesson was very impactful because it was a conversation with them, not a lecture to them. And then I also was able to connect what they wanted most to what I needed them to do as well. And I think that's an important takeaway when you're helping your kiddos with their nutrition journey. If you need help with anything, shoot me a DM on social media, Facebook or Instagram. Happy to answer any questions or get you some help. All right, thanks.